"Don't touch my child." Billionaire woman yells at black waitress, but the child says something that stuns all. What if the billionaire mogul who built her empire by crushing everyone in her path was forced to confront the woman who quietly saved her from ruin? Megan Lancaster was a name that commanded attention. At 42, she was the epitome of success, a billionaire tech mogul, a staple in Forbes lists, and a woman whose every move was chronicled by society pages. Her sleek blonde hair, tailored designer suits, and diamond-encrusted watch screamed power. Tonight, she sat at the best table in Lucille, a Michelin-starred restaurant in Manhattan, her 12-year-old daughter, Lily, across from her. The restaurant's opulent decor, gold-trimmed walls, velvet drapes, and a view of the glittering city skyline, mirrored Megan's carefully curated life. Lily, with her wide hazel eyes and soft curls, was a miniature version of her mother, but with a warmth Megan had long since buried. She fidgeted with her napkin, her gaze wandering the room, absorbing the details her mother ignored. Megan, meanwhile, scrolled through her phone, responding to emails from her empire's board members. Her company, Lancaster Innovations, was on the verge of launching a revolutionary AI platform, and the world was watching. Failure was not an option, not for Megan. "Mom, can we talk?" Lily asked, her voice small but hopeful. Megan didn't look up. "In a minute, sweetheart. I'm in the middle of something important." Lily sighed, her shoulders slumping. It was always like this. Her mother was a whirlwind of ambition, always moving, always perfect. But Lily craved something else: connection, stories, the kind of warmth she vaguely remembered from her grandmother, who had died when Lily was 6. She missed the days when her mother would laugh, when their lives felt less like a performance. Across the room, Tasha Williams moved with quiet grace, balancing trays of delicate appetizers and refilling wine glasses. At 38, Tasha was a single mother of 2, her warm brown eyes and quick smile masking the exhaustion of long shifts and late-night study sessions. She was in her final year of nursing school, a dream she'd chased for a decade while working multiple jobs to support her family. Tasha's life was a testament to resilience, but to the patrons of Lucille, she was just another server, invisible until needed. Tasha approached Megan and Lily's table, her notepad ready. "Good evening, ma'am. Can I get you started with anything else?" Megan barely glanced up. "Another glass of the 98 Bordeaux. And make it quick." Lily, however, smiled at Tasha. "Your earrings are pretty. Did you make them?" Tasha's face lit up, her hand brushing the beaded hoops. "Thank you, sweetheart. My daughter made them for me. She's about your age." Megan's eyes flicked up, a flicker of annoyance crossing her face. She didn't like her daughter chatting with the help. "Lily, sit properly. We're here to eat, not make friends." Tasha's smile faltered, but she nodded and stepped away, her heart stinging from the dismissal. She was used to it. Wealthy patrons often treated her as if she were part of the decor. But something about Megan's coldness felt personal, though Tasha couldn't place why. As she moved to the next table, a memory tugged at the edges of her mind, a fleeting image of a woman in despair, a woman she'd once known. 10 years ago, Megan Lancaster's world had collapsed. Her first company, a tech startup she'd poured her heart into, went bankrupt overnight. Investors pulled out, lawsuits piled up, and her fortune evaporated. She and Lily, then just a toddler, were left with nothing. No home, no savings, no safety net. Megan's pride, her defining trait, kept her from asking for help. She'd grown up in a modest home, raised by a single mother who valued kindness over status, but Megan had rejected that life. She wanted power, respect, the kind of life where no one could look down on her. During those dark days, Tasha had been there. A friend of Megan's late mother, Ellen, Tasha had worked at a small diner where Megan, desperate and ashamed, would sit for hours nursing a single coffee. Tasha had seen the pain in Megan's eyes, the way she clutched Lily's tiny hand as if she were the only thing keeping her grounded. Without judgment, Tasha had stepped in. She brought them meals, paid their overdue rent, and even connected Megan with a mentor who helped her start over. Tasha never asked for thanks. She did it because Ellen had taught her to lift others up, no matter the cost. But Megan, once she clawed her way back to success, buried that chapter of her life. She rebuilt her empire, brick by brick, and erased the memory of her vulnerability. Tasha's kindness, her mother's legacy, they were inconvenient truths that didn't fit the narrative of Megan Lancaster, the unbreakable billionaire. Back in the present, Lily pushed her plate aside and wandered toward the restaurant's bar, where Tasha was wiping down glasses. Lily, always curious, pulled a napkin from the counter and held it out. "Can you draw something for me? Maybe a flower." Tasha hesitated, glancing at the bustling dining room. But Lily's earnest smile was impossible to resist. "Sure, kiddo. Let's make it a sunflower." As Tasha sketched, her strokes quick and confident, Lily watched in awe. "You're really good at this. Do you draw a lot?" "When I get the chance," Tasha said, her voice soft. "My kids love it when I draw for them." Megan, noticing Lily's absence, looked up from her phone. Her eyes narrowed as she spotted her daughter leaning over the bar, laughing with Tasha. The sight ignited something primal in her, a mix of protectiveness and disdain. She stood abruptly, her heels clicking against the polished floor as she stormed over. "Don't touch my child." Megan's voice sliced through the restaurant, sharp and commanding. Every head turned. Waiters froze mid-step, and the hum of conversation died. Tasha stepped back, her hands raised, the napkin fluttering to the floor. I wasn't touching her, ma'am. She just asked me to draw something." Megan's face was a mask of fury. "I don't care what she asked. You don't get to speak to her. Do your job and stay away." The room was silent, the air heavy with judgment. Tasha's cheeks burned, the sting of humiliation cutting deep. She opened her mouth to apologize, to defuse the situation, but before she could, Lily stepped forward. "Mom, stop it." Lily's voice was steady, louder than anyone expected from a 12-year-old. She stood between Tasha and Megan, her small frame radiating defiance. "Tasha saved us. You don't even know who she is. She's the reason we're not homeless anymore." The words hung in the air like a thunderclap. Diners exchanged stunned glances, their forks paused mid-bite. Megan's expression faltered, her confidence cracking like thin ice. "What are you talking about?" Megan snapped, but her voice trembled. Lily's eyes were fierce, her voice unwavering. "When we lost everything, after the bankruptcy, we had nothing. No money, no home. You were too proud to ask for help, but Tasha helped us. She gave us food, paid our rent, and told you to keep going. She was there when you were too broken to see a way out." Megan's breath caught. Flashes of memory hit her, nights spent in a cramped apartment, Lily crying from hunger, the shame of accepting handouts. She'd buried those moments so deep she'd convinced herself they never happened. But Lily's words dragged them to the surface, raw and undeniable. Tasha's eyes met Megan's, and for the first time, Megan really looked at her. The recognition hit like a wave. Tasha, the woman from the diner, the one who'd sat with her during those endless nights, who'd listened without judgment, who'd carried out her mother's wish to protect her. "I wasn't just any waitress," Tasha said, her voice low but firm. "I was your mother's best friend, Megan. Ellen asked me to look out for you when she got sick. She knew you'd struggle after she was gone, and when you hit rock bottom, I did what she would have done. I helped you because that's what she taught me, to give without expecting anything back." Megan's knees weakened. Her mother, Ellen, had been her rock, a woman who lived for others, who saw value in every person. Megan had loved her fiercely, but after her death, she'd rejected that humility, chasing status to fill the void. Now, standing in the middle of Lucille, surrounded by strangers, Megan felt the weight of her mother's legacy crashing down on her. Tasha's voice grew quieter, but every word carried the weight of years. "Your mother didn't just help me, Megan. She saved me. When I was a teenager, pregnant and alone, my family turned their backs on me. Ellen took me in, gave me a home, and taught me what it meant to be strong. She believed in you, even when you didn't believe in yourself. And when you lost everything, she wasn't here, so I stepped in. I carried her heart forward." Megan's throat tightened. She remembered her mother's stories, how she'd mentored young women, how she'd quietly changed lives. But Megan had been too consumed by her own ambition to see it. She'd erased Tasha's kindness, her mother's lessons, all to protect the image she'd built. The restaurant was still, the patrons hanging on every word. Lily reached for Tasha's hand, squeezing it gently. "You're like Grandma," she said softly. "You help people." Megan's eyes burned with unshed tears. She looked at Tasha, then at Lily, and saw her mother in both of them, her kindness, her strength, her refusal to let pride stand in the way of love. For the first time in years, Megan felt small, not in wealth or status, but in spirit. "I'm sorry," Megan whispered, her voice breaking. I forgot everything." Tasha's expression softened, but she didn't let Megan off the hook. "Forgetting doesn't erase what happened. You built something incredible, but you lost something along the way. Your mother would have wanted you to remember who you are, not just what you've become." Megan sank into her chair, the eyes of the restaurant still on her. She felt exposed, her perfect facade shattered. But in that vulnerability, she found something she'd lost, a flicker of the woman she'd been before pride took over. She looked at Tasha, her voice steadier now. "How can I make this right?" Tasha shook her head. "It's not about making it right. It's about doing better. You've got a daughter who sees the world differently. Listen to her. And maybe listen to your mother's voice again." Lily hugged Tasha, then turned to her mother. "Mom, let's start over. Together." Megan nodded, tears spilling down her cheeks. For the first time in years, she didn't care who saw her cry. She reached for Lily's hand, then looked at Tasha. "Thank you. For everything." The restaurant slowly came back to life, the hum of conversation resuming, but the moment lingered. Megan paid the bill, leaving a tip that would cover Tasha's rent for months. But more than that, she left with a promise, to honor her mother's legacy, to rebuild not just her empire, but her heart. As they walked into the Manhattan night, Lily squeezed her mother's hand. "Grandma would be proud of you now," she said. Megan smiled, a real smile, not the polished one she wore for cameras. "I hope so, Lily. I hope so." Weeks later, Megan launched a foundation in her mother's name, dedicated to helping single mothers and struggling families. Tasha was its first board member, her nursing degree now within reach, funded by a scholarship Megan created in her honor. Lily became the foundation's biggest advocate, her drawings of sunflowers adorning its walls. Megan never forgot that night at Lucille. It was the night she lost her pride and found her purpose. And in the eyes of her daughter and the woman who'd saved her, she saw the reflection of the mother she'd lost, and the woman she could still become.